Hello, guys.
Hi.
We're here.
Season 2. Meow, meow, meow.
This is exciting, and this is our first time trying to record in a different way. Now, we have the camera in horizontal view.
Yeah, because it's better that way.
Yeah, and we're going to learn how to do the little zoomies on both of us. We'll figure it out. There's some AI, I think, that does it automatically.
We're gonna get good.
We're going to get good at this.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Yeah, Season 2, going strong.
Full blown.
What makes this season different than last season?
Well, I'll tell you, Allie. We have a new plan. Well, basically, we decided that we enjoyed October's theme, and we had planned out all of October for spooky episodes, and we had it all planned out before the month started, and we felt like that was a really good way to go. So
this season, each month is going to be a different theme, and January's theme is all about
siblings.
Family.
The reason why I said siblings, listeners, is because Allie had her brother on the show, and we have not released that episode yet, but we're going to this month, and it's very exciting. It just is going to require a lot of editing because it was like 2 hours plus long. And
yeah, because,
we got a little schwasty.
We're just shooting the shit.
Yep. So it's going to be one of those too. Yeah. But you'll hear that this month. And we decided February should be, of course, love. We're going to get into some cool stuff in February. So stay tuned, all friends. Today's episode is going to be about incest.
You heard that right, folks.
Incest. And also inbreeding.
Wait, isn't inbreeding and incest the same?
No, inbreeding is when you actually have the children from
you're
incest.
right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah. Inbreeding just sounds so like animalistic.
Feral. Yeah, it does. Because
Inbred.
breeding.
Yeah, breeding.
But there's also a taboo attached to it. And
yeah.
So it sounds,
inbred.
It sounds animalistic.
Yeah, it does.
I want to just do a little disclaimer on this episode because we don't want to sensationalize this stuff. We're not for it, but we're coming in with an open mind. And we are going to be talking about some inbred families. And I also want to say that trying to come at a place of respect here.
Yeah, we're not trying to be like disrespectful about the fact that they're inbred because everyone has different circumstances, lives different lives. We don't want to pass judgment.
Yeah, it's a curiosity.
It's a curiosity of ours, and we found a lot.
So let's talk about our weeks. Allie, you told me on the way over here, you were kind of telling me about what you did last night, and then you said you had another story, and I've been waiting patiently for the other story.
Okay, so I went to my friend's mother's house with her yesterday because her mom has dementia, and we basically just were having like a little sleepover, like hangout because her caregiver was out of town. So I went over there, me and my friend, we pulled up to her mom's house at, I want to say like 5. And when we get there, the parking right in front of her mom's house is taken. So we see 2 spots like ahead. But they have trash cans. So my friend is like, I'm just going to go move these trash cans so we can park here.
Classic. Yeah. Because nobody ever wants or thinks they can do that. I do that.
Yeah. You can do that.
Yeah.
And so she did that, and we parked. And then when we were about to get out of the car, this white man in a white truck pulls up right beside us, and he's like, "Why are you parking in my spot?"
Does it have your name on it?
And my friend, like, she was so taken aback that she didn't understand what he was saying. She's like, "What?" He's like, "Why are you in my spot? Why are you moving my trash cans? What the fuck?"
Whoa.
Angry already off the bat. And she was like, "This is public parking." Like,
those probably weren't even his trash cans. I feel like those kind of people.
No, they probably weren't.
Yeah.
And she's like, "This is public parking. This is the street. Like, anyone can park here." And he's like, "No, that's my spot. Why don't you go park down where you live?" And she was like, because there's cars there.
Also, that's her mom's place.
Yeah.
Family.
And family. And she's like, there's no parking right there. And he gets so mad. He's like calling her every name in the book. The C word.
Ooh.
Told her to suck a dick.
Well, he's a cunt suck a dick.
He is. And the best part about this whole thing is he was so pissed off. He's like, I just want to park in front of my own goddamn house. And
don't we all?
The funny thing is like, the spot behind us is open.
Wow.
2 spots open on the same part of the street.
Yeah.
One right after another.
Mm-hmm.
So this man is throwing a temper tantrum because he has to park in the spot behind our car, which is basically the same as parking in the spot we're parked at.
Yeah.
It's literally right behind us.
And you're already parked at this point.
Yes, we've been parked. We've been parked. Alfredo's out of the car. We're parked,
That's so annoying.
He's yelling at us the whole time, and then he starts saying, I'm a 51-year-old. I stopped taking my meds a long time ago, and I just sat in 2-hour traffic.
Like a you problem, bro.
And my friend's like, yeah, we all have to take meds. You should probably take your meds. I take my meds every day. You should probably take your meds. And he's just still going off on us, like calling us all these names. Then my friend was like, I'm trying to be over here taking care of my disabled dementia mother. My dad just died, and you're over here yelling at me about a parking spot. And then
got him.
He was like, well, this shows you like he's just an idiot. He was like, well, if I would have known that, then I wouldn't have said all that.
Well, yeah, bro. Like, in your 51 years of life, you never realized that people might be going through something.
Right.
Like...
You sat through 2 hours of traffic. Well, people have other problems too, bro. She was just like, I shouldn't have to tell you that for you to be a decent person, like, and treat people nicely.
Yeah.
And it all just, like, if you just ask nicely or like, come at it
like,
from,
hey, this is the spot I usually park at.
I'm so sorry. Like, I know it's annoying, but like, this is my spot. I've had a really long day, whatever.
Yeah.
No. Instead, it was like full fury, like angry man having a temper tantrum. And I said, I was like, you're throwing a temper tantrum right now. And then my friend said, go to therapy. And he was like, what did you just say? Like, it was so funny. And then after he was done arguing, he was like, just drop it, man. Just drop it. And we're like, you're the one.
We're ready to drop it.
We've been ready. Oh, yeah. And he threatened to tow us. And we were like,
you can't do that.
You literally can't do that.
Yeah.
This is public parking.
Yeah.
You don't own this street.
The tow truck's not going to do it.
He's like, my buddy got a tow truck. And she's like, okay, then I'm going to sue you.
So you're going to take it to your buddy's house?
Yeah. So she took a picture of his license plate, and then that made him even more mad. It was just a whole thing. And I feel like this man rents. He doesn't even own this house that he's,
that he's so pissed about being in front of.
Yeah. We were like shaken up a little bit afterwards.
He probably just needs to take his meds.
That's what we said.
Like,
just take your medicine every day. Like,
I've been thinking about that lately, how I feel like I've been struck with a lot of bad luck, and I haven't really like fully formulated this thought, but it's like all about the perspective that you have, because sometimes I will tend to think, oh, it's because this person did this, or like blame it on somebody else, like if that person wasn't such an asshole, this wouldn't have happened to me. Or like, this happened to me because that person doesn't understand my shit. But really, like, everybody's going through something.
Yeah.
And everybody has a reason for why they do things. Yes, like, some people are more of assholes than others, but like, a lot of times it's just they're insecure or mentally ill. And this guy's probably really mentally ill.
Yeah. Did anything exciting happen to you?
No, really not at all. Well, I said I had something, but not nearly like an interesting story like that. I haven't been leaving the house is the thing, because I have this little office dungeon because we made our front walkway into an office. And I've just been down there with my little snuggy hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, here's the thing. I'm just like doing a lot of work that's like do the same thing over and over again, churn it out. And I'm not very good at that kind of work. But it's also nice because I can work whenever I want. And it's not taking up my creative energy. So I don't know. I feel like I've been feeling better too. Like I've been depressed, as we know. And I feel like my perspective is looking up.
That's good.
This year, new me.
I know one thing that happened in your week was you tried to kick a man at the bar.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot
He
about
came
that.
out and
I
yelled at
forgot
us.
about that night out that we did.
Girls' night out.
Yeah, we did a girls' night out. So, yeah, we could talk about that. We did a girls' night out, and then we went to Tenants of the Trees.
Which Kirsten the whole way. I'm on the
I'm
list.
on the list. I've been
The
on the list
list
since
is permanent.
2018.
The list is
It's
permanent.
Tenants of the Trees is this place. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's this place that might be illegally open now.
Yeah,
I
we're
don't
not
know.
sure.
I don't know because they're always so secretive. They're like, it's a private party.
Yeah,
And
it's not ever.
yeah. It used to be more open and there'd be like a line out the door, but now you go in through the back. So that's what makes me think is like maybe they lost their liquor license and that's why it's so like
secretive.
Yeah. Anyway, it used to be like kind of one of those places where like invite only kind of places like LA is. And in 2018, I DM'd them and I was like, gave them my name and my friend's name who I was with. And I was like, put us on the list. And then the next day they messaged me back and they were like, you're on the list. And I was like, well, it's too late now. And they're like, no, the list is permanent.
The list is permanent.
And
so Kirsten was saying that to the bouncer.
To the bouncer. But I think he was going to let us in anyway. Or not. I don't know.
I don't know. He was getting really annoyed at you.
Yeah, he was.
And then I was like, listen, this is what happened and it's just funny. And he was like, oh, okay, haha. But this man made Kirsten mad, and on the way out of the bar.
Oh, yeah, no. But the reason why he made me mad was because of the comment he made about my coat.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? He was like, he sat next to me and he was like, I was wearing a leopard print coat and he was like, how many leopards did you kill? Or something like that to make that jacket. And I was like, none. It's like not real. And he was like, try again. Like, like that's not the answer that I wanted. Just be cool. Like, answer the question.
Like just being an asshole.
Yeah. He was like, you need to answer the question. I'm like, no, it's like not a funny pickup line. I don't know what you're trying to do.
Then we saw him sitting by the door.
I was like, pew.
Kirsten just kind of put her little foot up, and I don't know if you made contact with him or if you almost did.
I feel like I did. I don't know.
You might have, but he came out chasing us. Pretty much. He's like, what? Why'd you do that, you fucking bitch? We were all just like, bye.
Bye. Yeah, I was drunk. Wow.
Anyway, that was our week.
Oh, also, another part of our New Year's is that we're doing segments that will include more cool commercials on days we don't have commercials. We're going to do our little game that we always do because, I don't know.
Let's get deep.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Deep. Who is the most fun drunk from the group?
I think we're both pretty fun.
Yeah.
It depends on the night.
It really does.
Are there any people in your life that do not accept you as you are?
No.
Really?
Because the people who don't, I don't talk to, so they're not really in my life. Why? Why is that so hard to believe? You think I'm crazy?
No, I mean, I think, like, they're still in your life, even though you don't talk to them.
Well, I mean, I have, like, aunts and uncles who don't like that I'm tattooed and I'm liberal and I date outside my race.
They don't like that?
No.
Oh.
And I am queer, which they don't know about, but they wouldn't like that. But I literally cut them off. I don't talk to them at all.
Oh, okay.
Because the last time
What about family gatherings? Do you ever see them?
No, I don't go. I don't, because they have gatherings at their house in West Virginia, and I stopped going to those a long time ago when they told my cousin that she could come, but she can't bring her wife of 30 years.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
I was like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
So I just stopped going. And then the last time I saw them was at my grandma's funeral, and I literally didn't say a word to them. So bye.
See, my extended family is like secretively that.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're nice to your face, but definitely have judgment kind of thing. Like they're like, we're Christians and blah, blah, blah. But actually, we are racist, even if we don't know we're racist.
Right, even if we don't think we're racist, we are. I think tattoos is like the main thing.
That's like such a stupid one, especially now. I feel like I'm so glad now it's like considered less taboo, and I don't think it's just because we're in California. I think even where we're from, it's not as even crazy of a taboo.
Yeah, even like I remember in Ohio when I was a hostess at a restaurant, I had a little tattoo on my arm, and they made me cover it up and take my nose ring out.
Yeah, I remember taking your nose ring out was the thing. Oh my God.
But now, like, I see people at restaurants who have big gauged ears and like sleeves of tattoos, and it's like not a big deal anymore.
Especially here, it doesn't matter.
Especially here. But even in my hometown, like everyone has tattoos now, like that work in the restaurant industry. Nobody has to take out their nose ring.
Yeah, that's so dumb.
Yeah.
That just reminds me of I was working at a izakaya restaurant a couple years ago, right before the pandemic, and this guy, he wasn't my boss. I guess he was a manager, but when I first started working there, I had a nose ring, and it was like I think a hoop like yours, and it was just one. He said something like, he didn't say you have to take it out, but it was something like, are you gonna take that out, or like something like that, like kind of telling me that I shouldn't be wearing that, but he can't really say I can't wear it. And I was like, this is bullshit, man. I'm not taking that out.
Yeah, who cares about that? Who cares?
Yeah, literally nobody cares. So we're going to be talking about incest.
Yes, we are.
Let's talk about the difference between incest and inbreeding. So incest is sexual relationships with a member of your family. And I've like seen different definitions. There's not like a clear cut how close the family has to be, immediate or closely related.
Yeah. And then inbreeding is
when you have kids.
When you have kids from that incestual relationship.
But yeah, I mean, one thing that that we kind of all associate with inbreeding is genetic disorders and some kind of mental or physical disability related with it.
Yeah, so we're going to go into that. Yeah. We're going to go into some statistics. We're going to go into just a bunch of stuff that maybe you didn't know about when it comes to incest. So
I'm interested in like why inbreeding causes impairments.
Which it makes sense now that I read about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty short explanation. Yeah. It's like basically you get the genes, one gene from your father and one from your mother. And usually the dominant genes cancel out the recessive ones. So if you have two gene pools to work with, then you're less likely to get diseases because those dominant genes will...
Because you have to have
override the...
two recessive genes in order to make a genetic disorder.
Yeah. So...
The same recessive gene.
Yeah, so it's more likely that you'll get that if you have parents of the same gene pool. But... Yeah. It's less likely if you don't. And then that's basically just how evolution works.
Yeah.
And that's why genetic diversity is important.
Yes.
I'm Kirsten.
I'm Allie.
And you're listening to
Thank You So Much.
Thank you so much for incest. That's okay.
Not really, but that's how we start our show.
Yeah. But
yeah.
I mean, thanks for, I don't know, enlightening us about it, the world.
Yeah. Thanks for the information. Why is it bad? So we already went into like the genetic reasons, but if the two parents have two of the same recessive gene, there's nothing dominant to cancel it out. So you end up getting birth defects, you get genetic disorders. Like, some people think that whatever, incest is whatever, but don't have kids.
Yeah.
Because you're fucking them up, basically, from
Well,
the
yeah, and
start.
that's why there's a lot of laws against incestual marriages and stuff.
Yeah. And according to a 2011 study, the rate of childhood deaths increases when the child comes from a first cousin or closer. I mean, you can die. Your kid can die.
Yeah, because they end up with a disease that's a recessive.
And it could be so bad that they die. It's a weird thing because we both listen to Red Handed, the podcast, and we love those girlies. And they did an episode about this father who married his daughter, biological daughter, but she was adopted, so they didn't grow up together.
Yeah.
But they fell in love and they had a baby and all this stuff. So they were talking about incest a lot in that episode. And she brought up a good point. Like, you know, people say it's bad to have babies if you're incest, whatever. But you would never tell somebody who actually has a genetic disorder not to procreate.
Yeah.
Because they could pass it down.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, no one's up in arms about that because that's eugenics and, you know, that's bad.
Right.
To say, like, no, you shouldn't procreate because you have this and you're going to pass it to your kid and da-da-da-da. Which some people may feel that way, but it's not illegal, you know?
Yeah.
So there was an interesting point.
I mean, there's an argument there where it's like, if it's consensual on both sides, why is anybody even concerned?
People back in the day would inbreed just because it would keep within the same bloodline. Like, they wanted their bloodline to just be their bloodline forever.
Yeah. Like royal families.
Yeah. So it would keep them in power, like the pharaohs of ancient Egypt.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, they did it. A lot of cultures did it for royalty reasons.
Yeah, there was this one that, and I'm sure you've seen the picture. It's and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but the Habsburg jaw.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually read about that.
It's like kind of like an underbite.
And it's named
situation.
after the people.
Yeah.
The Habsburgs.
Yeah. And they're like a really powerful...
The House of Habsburgs.
The House of Habsburgs. And they're a really famous European dynasty.
Yeah.
That was like hundreds and hundreds of years reigning and had a lot of territory. But basically that happened. They found out, geneticists found out that was because of inbreeding, that jaw situation.
So Charles II of Spain, who was born in 1661, who's part of the Habsburg family, he has a bunch of disabilities.
Yeah.
And he didn't speak till he was 4. He couldn't walk until he was 8, and he was barely able to chew due to his deformed jaw, and that's where the Habsburg jaw comes from.
Yeah.
At this point, the family was so jumbled. Like, just as an example, his mother was his dad's niece, and his grandmother was also his aunt. So it's like really confusing. But like, the point is, the family was so jumbled up in incest at this point that he probably got the worst of it.
Yeah,
it's
like
years
all
of
passing down the torch of
yeah.
of the bad genes.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I have a little factoid that's unrelated, but I wanted to mention it like during the beginning. Inbreeding is a lot, or incest in general, is a lot more common in like North Africa, West, Central, and South Asia. And I pulled up a fact that said 20 to over 50% of current marriages in these areas are second cousins or closer.
Whoa.
Yeah, 20 to 50%.
That's a lot.
But I guess it maybe makes sense. Well, it's associated with just what's available in your proximity. So
I did read that 15% of U.S. families have incest within their family. But the statistics are really hard in the U.S. because it's illegal. So a lot of it goes unreported.
yeah, well, it's not illegal in every state.
No.
It's not illegal in Rhode Island.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Rhode Island, oh my gosh, can I pull up the Rhode Island
Yeah.
Wait.
The red-handed girls talked about Rhode Island too.
Well, it's Rhode
And New
Island
Jersey.
and New Jersey. Yeah. So in the states of Rhode Island and New Jersey, incest between adults is legal. However, neither state permits marriage. In New Jersey, each person in the relationship must be at least 18 years old. In Rhode Island, age of consent is 16.
Yeah, it's important to note that like incest definitely happens with older parents
Yeah.
and kids, but this is we're talking about 2 consenting adults.
Yeah.
With this episode.
Or 16-year-olds if you're in Rhode Island.
Yeah, or I guess 16-year-olds. Shoo!
Oh my God.
The most frequent type of incest is father-daughter incest.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
34% of all cases are father-daughter.
Yeah, it's really, there's actually some really dark stuff when we really like get into incest, especially modern incest in the US. It gets really dark because a lot of it is involved with abuse and
yeah. So like genetically people, aren't into incest. Morally, people say again, like having offspring is morally wrong because you're pretty much setting them up to have a genetic defect.
Yeah.
So why would you do that? Also, sometimes when it's like parent-child incest, there's always going to be a power dynamic.
Yeah.
Even if they're 2 consenting adults.
Mm-hmm.
So morally, that's kind of why people don't, agree with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the idea of grooming when there's an age gap.
Yeah, and a lot of those cases are when adults who were adopted as kids become 18 and then they go find their biological parents. And because they didn't grow up with their parents, they don't really associate them with that. We actually have this thing called the Westermark effect, which is like a genetic thing that we all have. This is why incest disgusts us all, because it refers to the idea that humans become sexually disinterested in those whom they spent most of their early life with. So adoptive parents, even though they're not genetically related, you could still grow up with them and think of them like, ew, that's disgusting. I don't want to think about that with my dad, my stepdad, or my adopted dad or whatever. But because the parents, like the bio parents, were not in their life at a very early age, they don't have that same
that same effect. Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like so if you think about it in the reverse, when it's the parent to the child, they don't have that effect on them. The child has it maybe. So that's why it's like another reason why it's abuse, because the child is like not able to think of the parent in that way, but the parent can.
Yeah. So most of, like, all of us, hopefully, grow up and we are disgusted by our brothers or our dads or, like, whatever. We don't want to think about that at all. But some people have genetic sexual attraction, which is not a super researched topic.
Oh, is this like when people try to say pedophilia is a sexual orientation?
I don't know about that.
Well, like there's like deep dark parts of the internet where there's people that are into bestiality, into pedophilia, and they're like, this is just my sexuality.
Yeah. Well, I think it's different because this is more of people who are related who meet for the first time as adults. So it's not like, oh, I'm just attracted to kids. It's like, I'm meeting this person for the very first time. We're 2 consensual adults. And the theory behind it is even adopted kids, they grow up in this family and they might feel accepted and everything. But once they meet like their bio parents or bio brother, sister, whatever, they are like, oh my gosh, we have so much in common. Like our mannerisms are very similar. We look similar. Like it kind of strikes them in a way that you just feel really close to the person, I guess. And so they tend to like sometimes get romantic feelings and love. And that's also hypothesized because we tend to be attracted to people who have similar physical, intellectual, and psychological traits as us. And when we meet this person for the first time, we didn't grow up with them. we might be, sexually attracted to them, and they just might be attracted to the similarities that they have, which I think is funny because I don't like people that look or I'm not attracted to people who look like me, but that is a thing. Like, you see siblings or dating, that siblings or dating site on Instagram where it's like, are these people siblings or dating because they look so similar?
Yeah. I think for me, for women, I would be attracted to women that look like me, but not men.
Yeah, me too, for some reason.
But I'm attracted to women who don't look like me too.
Yeah.
Because all women are beautiful.
Of course. But, it's one of those things that, like, people are embarrassed about. And they can't help it because they just have this, it's just called GSA for short, but they have this GSA, and it's like very embarrassing for them, and it's like actually really hard for them to go through that, and they don't understand. Like, sometimes it's just like, I'm not going to touch that, and that's fine. But then there are those cases that the feeling is mutual, and that's when shit happens.
It's weird. I mean, I think it's hard for me to conceptualize when both parties are adults, there's no power dynamic, and they're the same age. I mean, that what you're talking about before that wasn't that, but
but yeah, if it's like brother sister,
if it's like brother sister and they aren't gonna have kids, I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm not gonna do it, but I'm like, if you guys want to do that, that's weird, that's fucking weird, but like, I mean, as long as you're not like
hurting other people.
Yeah,
I think
I'm not like standing for it, I'm not like celebrating it, but
but like, if it is a brother sister dynamic or cousin dynamic or something,
I'm like, do what you want to do. I don't want to do that, but if that's what you want to do, as long as you're not harming anybody else, like,
I think majority of people are like, ew, that's so gross, because of the Westermark effect. Because we have that, we're genetically like programmed to think, ew, that's so disgusting, like, why would you do that? And it also, we have that in us for a reason, to keep us from being incestual. And
I mean, it's probably like an evolutionary thing.
I'm not sure if it's been like completely proven, but the hypothesis is it's like an evolution thing to help us reproduce in the right way, to like make healthier humans.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like survivable of the fittest. Yeah, basically.
So I think genetically we're like, ew, that's so gross. But to your point, like, if they're not hurting anyone else and that's just their decision, they're not having kids. Like,
I mean, it's
at that
weird,
point,
but
it's like, yeah, it's like really weird. But is it morally wrong?
I don't know that it is. If they're both around the same age, there's no power dynamics. Like, I don't think there's anything morally wrong with it. It's just
weird.
Fucking weird.
It's just weird as hell.
Yeah.
And I mean, the people who are struggling with that, I'm sure it's very isolating, and I'm sure they feel weird about it too. But they're still making the decision to go through with it, and it is weird. I'm sorry, but it is weird. But
we're trying to keep an open mind here.
We are trying to keep an open mind.
But can we talk about cousin marriage? Because I was surprised by how many states it's legal to marry your first cousin.
Oh.
Like, a lot of states.
Yeah.
It's not illegal, legal.
Yeah.
Like, literally half of the states, almost, you can get married to your cousin. Alabama, Alaska, California.
First cousin's a little close for me.
I know.
That's weird.
But some of them have a stipulation, though. Like, Illinois and Indiana. Illinois is, you can get married to your cousin only if both parties are 50 or older. Indiana is only if both are 65 or older.
I know Ohio prohibits and criminalizes incest only when a parental figure is involved. So maybe, does it say anything about Ohio, cousin on cousin?
Ohio, it's illegal. It's not allowed. It's not allowed in Ohio.
In Ohio?
I didn't misread it.
Okay.
It's not allowed in Ohio. But why do you think in some of the states it's only allowed if you're over a certain age? Because I just conceptualized this recently, like, while I was looking at it.
Well, because if you're not at the age of consent, you may not know.
No, like 65, 50.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
It's
Illinois,
legal?
Illinois, it's legal to get married to your cousin only if both parties are over 50. Indiana
Because they can't have kids.
Yeah. So it's like they only make it legal. And then some of them are like, in Maine, you have to have proof of genetic counseling. In some states, you have to have proof that you're sterile. So it's like you can get married as long as there's no chance you could have kids in some states. And in some states, it's totally illegal. But yeah.
Wow.
But this table is really funny because there's like so many different ones. Adopted cousin marriage allowed.
Okay. All right.
I mean, adopted cousin should be okay, right? It's weird.
Right.
Still weird, but like
Still weird, but you're genetically not. You don't share
Not even
DNA.
close,
So
yeah.
what's the problem? I guess.
to me that's like step sibling.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
Same level.
Yeah. Which is still very weird.
Like
But
clueless level.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Yeah.
not for me. But being from West Virginia, that's like one of the biggest jokes that everyone always
So-
tells me. Like, did you marry your cousin?
See, I always thought it was more of an Alabama thing, but in my research, I realized it is Appalachia.
It's
That's
Appalachia.
like the most.
Appalachia.
Can I say
Appalachian.
Appalachia? I can't say Appalachia.
No.
This is my like Indiana accent. Appalachia. Can I say that?
Appalachia.
But I think some people say Appalachia.
But the people from Appalachia say
But I'm not
Appalachian.
from there, so
Well, you should say it how the people say it.
I should.
Yeah.
Okay, Appalachia.
Yes, Appalachia.
But Appalachia is where it's at.
Yeah, that's where the incest
Yeah.
happens.
So it's like
And
Kentucky, the
that's-
hills of Kentucky, the hills of West Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, there's movies about it. Wrong
Yeah.
Turn was in a fake place in West Virginia, but it takes place in West Virginia. That's the horror movie with the inbred family who kills the... Have you seen it?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God. It's like old. It's when it came out, everyone was like, oh my God. Like in West Virginia, everyone was like, this is making us look bad. But it's a horror movie, and these teenagers or whatever, they're like trying to get somewhere, and they have to go through West Virginia, and they get stuck at this like super
I want to see it.
inbred family's house, and they're all like scary looking, and they like end up killing them and trying to eat them or something.
The hills of West Virginia are kind of scary, though.
Like, I think it's about cannibals too, like inbred
Oh.
cannibals.
I feel like it is creepy deepy up there,
It
especially
is.
when like the more remote you get, because like in certain areas it's like not very welcoming to go in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is scary.
Did I tell you about the time that I got lost at night? I was driving a company car and I got stuck in the mud. But I was driving. Did I tell you about that time? It was in
think
West
you did,
Virginia,
yeah.
and I got stuck in the mud, and I didn't know how to put the car into 4-wheel drive because I've never driven a car like that.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't get out of the mud, and I had to like walk to the nearest house, and it was like this mountain man. It was like a legit mountain man. He was like got like a
That's-
chainsaw and like
What?
a beard, and I started crying because I was like scared. And I was in the freaking company vehicle, and I was like, "Can you help me?" And he like comes with his truck and like a chain, and then he gets to the car and he's like, "Did you put it into 4-wheel drive?" And I was like 20, you know. I mean, even now I feel like I would probably still make the same mistake, but
Yeah.
I was like, "No, can you do it?" And he did it. And he was nice, but at first, when I first came up to him, he was like,
Like, what are you doing
"Like,
on
what
my
the fuck are you
porch?
doing?"
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different, like, movies and just jokes and whatever about incest in West Virginia. And there's the one family that you were
The
looking
Whitaker
at, the
family.
Whitaker family.
Yeah.
I know Soft White Underbelly did a whole...
Well, there was before
thing.
I'm pretty sure he found out about them through a documentary
Oh.
because I had seen parts of that documentary before he even made his
Oh, okay.
stuff. But that's like, his stuff came later on and I think is more modernly, like in the last couple of years.
Yeah, he has
more
like 4
popular.
million YouTube subscribers or something. So it's maybe more modern,
Yeah.
but he has a whole thing on them. Like,
Yeah, have you watched it? It's kind of weird. I don't really like the way that he's interviewing them. It's a little
Mhm.
bit like, if you watch his channel, he also interviews like prostitutes on Skid
Mhm,
Row
yeah.
and stuff. And it's a little bit exploitative, but I guess he does help them. Like he'll put up,
he did like help them fix their house. and,
yeah,
like,
he'll like put up GoFundMe's and stuff for
Yeah.
them. But it's still I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way. I think it's the way he interviews them feels a little bit like it's a spectacle.
Yeah. That family is textbook inbred family,
Yeah.
you know?
And yeah, I mean, I think it's what a lot of us think about when we think about inbreeding in the modern day because of those videos that we've seen online.
Mm-hmm.
And well, from what I read about them, they're from Odd, West Virginia.
Yes, they sure are from West
It started
Virginia.
with a set of twins, these two guys, and then their kids ended up all kind of intermingling. And it's like lots of families that had like 6 kids, 12 kids,
Yeah.
and then I think it's kind of stopped now because if you look at the video, everybody's kind of older.
Mm-hmm.
And the leader of the house now is this woman, Lorraine, who's like in her 70s. And
Yeah.
she's the one that's like more physically and mentally there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad to watch.
Yeah, like there are some that are totally nonverbal, like only
Mhm.
make noises, and
Mm-hmm.
they all seem to have like some kind of like physical
issue.
Yeah.
And mental issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like the one that I always think of
Mhm.
first. But at the same time, like they're living a
They're
simple
living their
life,
Like
and
just let them live. Yeah.
they're just hanging. They're just
it's-
hanging out.
Yeah.
Like who are we to say that they're unhappy? We don't know.
They seem fine.
They seem fine.
I mean, now I think when that documentary first came out, I was reading that they lived in a shack and it was
Mhm.
pretty poor living conditions with a bunch of dogs and stuff. But it seems like it's better now that
Yeah.
I mean, with the social media fundraising that
Yeah.
went on for them,
Yeah.
I guess it's better.
Yeah.
But I heard that the neighbors were really protective. So when the soft white underbelly guy first tried to interview them, the neighbors were really protective and like almost didn't let him in.
Oh.
And they're like,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they probably don't want them to be a spectacle. They're
Yeah,
like, these are
exactly.
humans. They're people.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want you to exploit them. But
mhm.
but I don't know. I mean, at least he's helping them in a way.
Yeah, it's nice that he's helping it, but he's also getting profit, I'm
yeah,
sure.
that's true.
Yeah. But we're learning about it. So the other family that I read about was the Blue family in Kentucky.
Oh yeah, I read
And-
about them too.
Yeah, and they're the Fugates. And it started with this guy that was a French orphan in 1820, and his name was Martin Fugate. And he moved to eastern Kentucky, and he was married to Elizabeth Smith, and they had 7 children, 3 of which turned out just normal white. Elizabeth was like a redhead, so
Mhm.
like they were very pale white, and
Mhm.
then the other 4 kids were blue. And in the 1960s, one of the nearby universities got like interested in it because
Mhm.
after those 7 kids, just because they were in the hills and very isolated, there ended up being a lot of like inbreeding situations, and over that 100 years, there were some blue people out there.
Yeah, I saw the
And-
pictures, and I've seen I saw something about a guy who turned blue for some kind
So
of.
that's a different thing. So
So you can just turn blue
Wait.
like for multiple
wait,
reasons.
so hold on. Let
That's
me get into that
crazy.
because you have to take it with a grain of salt because the stories, a lot of the people in the area were illiterate, and it's a lot of just like storytelling like from the area, like
mhm.
the folklore of it. But basically there was like some research in the 1960s that found out that they were blue based on a enzyme deficiency that they had. So it had nothing to do with a specific disease or anything like that. And they were doing tests to try to remove the blueness from their skin or
Mhm.
whatever. But anyway, unrelated is the guy that turned himself blue. But
Oh,
they're
he
often
turned himself
yeah,
blue?
they're often like associated with each other. And I don't know if you saw Cult of the Mother God recently. You haven't seen it? Okay, so the Cult of the Mother God, it was like about this woman who basically started a cult, and she was God, and everybody
Okay.
in the cult like believed that she was God.
Uh-huh.
And she would take colloidal silver, and this is a lot of like woo woo people believe that it's a health tonic, but if you
Mhm.
take too much of it, it turns you blue. And she turned blue, and that guy that you're thinking of, his name was Paul Carrison,
Uh-huh.
and he turned himself blue from the colloidal silver.
Wow.
Yeah. So that
Okay, so they did that to themselves.
yeah. They drank it, and it dyes your skin if you drink too much of it.
Okay. So I
Yeah.
wonder if the enzyme that the family was missing or something like has anything to do with oxygen in the blood, or like I'm wondering why the skin would turn blue.
I didn't write it down. It does have something to do with your blood, but I don't know. I don't remember. But then the last living descendant of the Fugate family is Benjamin Stacy, who was born in 1975, and I think he's still alive.
Is he white or blue?
It said that he was not blue, but like his fingertips.
Oh, interesting.
His fingertips were, and he used to be bluer when he was younger, but not so much anymore.
That's interesting.
And then I also read about like some of the family members that like when they were doing the tests in the 60s turned out purple. So there was like a halfway in between, but it's mostly gone now. Although I did read a Reddit post of a guy claiming that he was a descendant of the Fugate family and thought he was blue, but I don't think it's.
Well, so wait, confirm. So did they turn blue because of incest, inbreeding?
Yeah, I mean that's what the research from the 60s.
But the mom and the dad weren't related, were they?
No, but the point was they had 7 children, and then trickled down from those. Like they were in the hills, and they all kind of like interbred.
Oh, so they made more blue people.
Yeah. Yeah, basically it's just that phenomenon where like the recessive trait won because there wasn't enough people to cancel it out.
Wow.
Yep.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. But I bet if we go there, I bet the locals know more about it. I bet there's some people that aren't even publicized.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of it for me.
Yeah, that's about all I got too.
So
I do have one more fact.
Yeah.
50% of Pornhub searches are incestual relationship.
So weird.
Taglines or whatever, like the
50%. That's a lot.
Let me just double check that.
That's
number.
a lot.
Over 50%.
That's crazy.
Of porn videos on Pornhub have an incestuous angle. Like the title, the video theme, or the characters are all like mommy.
Oh yeah, there is a lot of like that. See, that's
mommy and son.
Well, that's a whole different thing, because then that's where we get into like Oedipus complex and that stuff. But,
and those are also like those people are not actually mother and son, or I mean,
for the most part
I'm pretty sure they're not, and it's just to get the clickbait, you know, like it's like to get that. But yeah, people search for that.
That's crazy. Well, that's incest, baby.
That's
incest for you, baby.
That's what we got for you.
Hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. If you want to talk about incest and you want to anonymously tell us some shit, if you live in the hills.
Maybe you live in the hills. Maybe you have
a
neighbor.
Know a guy.
Yeah. There was always, I don't know if this is true, but my friend who I've been friends with since like 7th grade, she used to live out in the boonies, like way out
in the holler.
In the holler. Yeah, she used to live in a holler. And she always told me that her neighbors were first cousins, and their kid was deaf because they were first cousins.
See, that could just be like a rumor, or it could be true.
It could be folklore, some West Virginia folklore, but it could be true. I have to see if she remembers that. Well, but if you have anything to add, if you have any stories,
we're curious to know. We're curious to know, and we're gonna look at it with a non-judgmental eye. But if there's power dynamics, if there's abuse, we will judge you.
Yes. Exactly.
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 We're judging the abusers, that's for sure.
But, don't be judgy. I mean,
to each their own.
As
long as nobody gets hurt.
Don't be having kids, I guess.
Yeah. Don't put somebody else into harm with it.
Yeah, like they didn't ask to be born, and then they have all these problems, and like their life is not as good as it could be, and
I think the difference between that and having a disability and having a kid is the disability that you have, like you know how to handle it, and like
that's true.
But like if you have kids in an incestual relationship, you don't necessarily know what could happen.
Yeah.
And then that uncertainty could be dangerous.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well,
all right, friends, that's all we got.
That's all we have for you.
We love you.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much.
Stay tuned for next
week. Do we want to tell what it's about? I'll give you guys a clue, okay? So this is going to be part of the riddle for next week. It has to do with families and numbers.
Oh, families and numbers.
All right, baby.
All
Bye.
right. Love you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Mwah.